Season of the Drifter is here, and today I am here to explain everything that's going on with said launch and give some thoughts on the first day of the season. Let's start with the main gameplay loop. You're going to go to the Drifter, who is in a new location near Ada, who will tell you to grab a Gambit Prime bounty and then complete one of them. The bounties are pretty basic, and you should get one of them done in a game or two. When you complete a bounty, your quest will update to send you back to the Drifter. When you go back to the Drifter, you'll get your synthesizer, which is used for the Reckoning. During Gambit Prime, you will earn synths, each corresponding to a role in Gambit Prime. Reaper Synth, Collector Synth, Sentry Synth, Invader Synth. These have two uses. Number one, you can just use them to straight up get 3 points in your set bonus, and they last 30 minutes. Or two, which is what I recommend you do with them right now, you can use them in your synthesizer in order to create a weak mote of the synth you placed into the synthesizer. You will then place that mote into the bank in the Reckoning. We only have access to Tier 1 right now. Tier 2 will open up soon, and then Tier 3 after that. If you complete the Reckoning, you will then get to loot your mote, which will have turned into an armor piece of the set that you chose when you made a weak mote. So, if you want the Invader set, you pop in an Invader synth into the synther, it'll make an Invader mote, you pop that mote into the Reckoning bank, you beat a round of Reckoning, and you collect an Invader armor piece upon completion. This is the main gameplay loop of Season of the Drifter. Collect synths in Gambit Prime to turn into motes, to place in the bank in the Reckoning, to forge into armor, to take into Gambit Prime. You can get synths during gameplay for doing certain things related to that role. For example, killing a high-value target might get you a Reaper synth. You also get a random synth at the end of a match. After you complete the Drifter's quest line, you'll unlock the weekly Gambit Prime bounties and some additional related bounties. You can only pick up one of the weekly Prime bounties at a time, so make sure you choose carefully based on the role that you want to play. Completing this first weekly bounty will upgrade your synthesizer to the blue version, and I assume the next time it'll upgrade to the purple. In this first and second week of Season of the Drifter, keep in mind that in order to complete a weekly bounty, you must do the Reckoning of the highest available mote type that you can make. Tier 2 does not open up until the 8th, which means you can only do one weekly before then. The game will literally not allow you to progress because you can't place Tier 2 motes in a Tier 1 Reckoning instance. The same will most likely happen with Tier 3. In terms of getting weapon drops, they appear to be random upon doing high-level things in Gambit Prime. Killing 4 people as an Invader, banking 15 motes, killing a high-value target, and potentially more. So what's changed in Gambit Prime? Well, a decent amount of stuff, but it's still the same core concept. First off, it's one round only, although they can drag on kinda long if teams are getting good invasions. Next, motes go up to 100, so there's an extra invasion. Next, your motes will be stolen from you if you have 2 or more blockers at your bank. There are also what feels like more majors and definitely more ultras that spawn during Gambit Prime. And finally, the primeval phase is a little different. There are 2 wizard envoys that spawn in, as usual, although they have dramatically reduced health. A 3rd envoy will spawn in after killing the first 2. After the 3rd is dead, the ground near that 3rd wizard will glow, and this is where you get your primeval buff to deal damage to the boss. This well lasts 30 seconds, and then the envoy phase starts over again in a new location. There's a set amount of locations where you will fight these envoys. The primeval buff stacks up to 5, so don't bother trying to get higher than that. The Reckoning is just in its Tier 1 form as of this video, which is a 650 level activity where you kill a lot of ads until you get to 100% dominance, and then you kill a boss, and you're done. You should be able to get to the boss in about 3 minutes, 2 if you're fast, and I've gotten the boss to spawn in a minute with really good luck on the ads. Given that we've seen other parts of this place in the Vidoc, I can only assume that Tier 2 will have that giant bridge encounter, maybe more, with Tier 3 having another encounter either instead of or in addition to all of that. The gear that drops from the motes is soft capped, but there is a weakly powerful that is linked to completing the Reckoning multiple times over. And that's pretty much what we're working with so far as of day 1. Now, I went back to look at what I spoke about with my day 1 Black Armory video, and the majority of it discussed launch issues and community expectations. Specifically, not being able to do the new stuff on day 1 because you weren't high enough level, and then not wanting to bother to grind to the current level cap because you were too far behind. The day 1 experience of Black Armory was just not very good. Bungie solved both of those problems for the most part with Season of the Drifter. Number 1, the Power Surge bounties gave you a boost to 640 for about an hour's worth of work. And 2, you could then play the activities introduced with the new season as a result, or if you were already leveled, then you were already at the appropriate level and you could just go in right away. The day 1 experience of this release was way better. But, being day 1, that kind of makes things as a whole difficult to judge outside of the Gambit Prime and Reckoning gameplay loop. I like the changes to the Gambit experience. It feels a little more dynamic as opposed to doing the same thing over and over again. Feels like there's a little bit more strategy, and the roles people take on matter a lot more. I do want to see how it'll play with everyone in full armor sets, though. Not being able to just Omega burn the boss, I think is a good thing, although as I'll likely talk about if I make a Gambit Prime tips video, it's still very possible to Omega burn the boss. You just need to wait until later stacks until you can do it. There's a little more of a back and forth with invasions during the boss encounter, which is what I think maybe Bungie wanted to have happen. Also, thank you Bungie for the full stat breakdowns at the end of a Gambit match. I love this so much. Now let's see it for the raids. As for the Reckoning, yeah, tier 1 is kind of easy, at least in a group it is, but I do like that you can just stay in as long as you want. You don't have to leave every single time. It is match made as well, so you can just hop in and out as you please. And there's also a place for a raid rally flag. Very, very nice. My main issues with Gambit Prime continue to be what I spoke about in my State of Gambit video. Solo play is rough because it is just really hard to carry a game of Gambit. Solo play has always been pretty rough though. But another thing is power ammo. Power ammo issues and balance will be the death of Gambit if it continues. It makes the invasion scenario incredibly lopsided based on who is able to get ammo and who isn't. I'll have games where I see 1 brick of power ammo. I'll have games where I never run out of it. Machine guns are still ridiculous, shockingly enough, enabling full team wipes with ease, not to mention the range at which they are capable of doing so. Queen breakers might have gotten fixed, but it just really shows how good machine guns are and will continue to be in Gambit despite their nerfs. Not only that, but they're good for both the PvE and PvP parts. At least Queen breakers was mainly a PvP choice. The first Gambit Prime map is really big, so invaders need to get much more aggressive because of how easy it is to hide from people, which I think is only going to push machine guns even more into the spotlight. Also, Izanagi's Burden, get ready to see that a lot. I hope you're ready for body shots. Then we have a lot of Sandbox changes with shotguns taking the lead. Full auto has been nerfed to 10% bonus rate of fire, down from 100%, with the reasoning being that full auto shotguns were just insanely good, and Ikelos and Threat Level were the only logical PvE choices. I totally respect that change. As a result, most shotguns were adjusted to get slightly higher rates of fire, got a PvE damage buff to nearly double their damage, but also had their base damage lowered to align with the new rates of fire. I'm very okay with this change. Full auto was getting to be, and already was, one of those perks that just felt like the 100% obvious choice for nearly everything, because why would you not want to fire a shotgun that quickly if there was almost no penalty? These changes make picking a shotgun perhaps a little more of an interesting choice. Although with full auto getting nerfed down to 10%, I wonder why they didn't just remove it completely. I'll be doing some damage testing on shotguns to really find out what the deal is over the next few days. Next up, some rather surprising changes. Sleeper, Whisper, and Machine Guns getting their ammo nerfed. Machine gun ammo got nerfed in the form of reserve perks. They only do half as much now. 2 reserve perks used to allow you to hold over 300 bullets. That's a really high amount, so seeing that nerfed doesn't surprise me too much, but it was unexpected. I don't see why you wouldn't want to still keep these reserve perks stacked up though. Damage against boss and mini bosses was also reduced by 21%. Again, surprising when viewed by itself, but when you look at all of the changes Bungie has made to power weapons this patch, it really seems like they want to push all of the power weapons closer together in terms of, well, power. Machine guns, or rather Thunderlord, has been dominant since its return in terms of damage and just pure output. Tons of ammo, tons of damage, while other weapons like rocket launchers were left in the dust. It was not even remotely close. Rocket launchers got a massive buff, 60 to 65% bonus PvE damage. Wardcliff got boosted from 115 to 160% bonus PvE damage depending on the combatant. 1,000 Voices, a 25% PvE boost. Two-Tailed Fox, a 26% PvE boost. Linear Fusions, 10% PvE. Grenade Launchers, 25% PvE. Even Trace Rifles gotten on the action, 30% PvE. Bungie's trying to make a lot more weapons viable, which I respect. Which brings us to the Sleeper and Whisper nerfs. I know a lot of people are going to say, just bring everything up to their level. And that's good and all, but sometimes you gotta nerf some stuff down for just being too good. If everything is that good, then things just get too ridiculous if you want to preserve any semblance of challenge in this game, which it appears that Bungie wants to do. Sleeper Simulant Ammo Reserves got nerfed a little bit, from 13 to 9 without perks or masterwork, and Whisper of the Worm Ammo Reserves got nerfed in half, from 20 to 9 without perks. The Sleeper ammo nerf is a little confusing because I don't really think that Sleeper was considered a problematic PvE weapon as far as I know. It's a similar feeling as 1,000 Voices when it was fixed earlier. I'd like to know why it was nerfed, but I'm guessing it was because it was just outperforming other weapons so greatly, but it didn't really seem like it. I don't know. Whisper reserves can still go up to 12 with 2 sniper reserve perks, but man, that nerf hurts. Granted, if you hit your shots, then you're not going to feel the effect of this nerf at all. Whisper has also been incredibly dominant as a weapon overall since its return, and since Bungie was not going to nerf any of the perks on the gun out of fear of a revolt from the community, they did the next thing that they possibly could, which is reduce the forgiveness of the weapon. You can mess up a couple of times now and still be alright, but too many misses means you're done, making the weapon a higher skill weapon. Again, while I'm surprised at the change, I get why it happened. So Bungie, if you can update us on those heavy ammo finder perks, that would be great. We also have one more big sad nerf. Fist of Havoc can now no longer go infinite, now giving diminishing returns after 15 kills. I'm sad about it, but it doesn't surprise me. Alright, so how about some good stuff? Year 2 armor can now roll with a random stat. That's really good. One-Eyed Mask was nerfed. The mark now only lasts 8 seconds. Health regen isn't instant, it happens over time. And the main perk can't proc when the Titan is in a super. So I bet like 67% of you are probably happy about that. And Titan Skating got reduced in effectiveness as well. That's good. Those are all the big topics. We'll explore the pinnacle weapons in another video, as I get them. Gambit Prime tips in another video. And shotgun damage and damage testing overall in another video. All in all, a much better day 1 experience than Black Armory. So we'll see how things go over the next couple of weeks. I still think whether or not people will enjoy the expansion will entirely rely on how much they enjoy playing Gambit Prime. So the more Bungie can do to make the solo queue experience better, the more well received this season will be. I'm just not so sure that making solo queue better is something that's easy to do other than stricter matchmaking for solos. Let me hear it in the comments. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, a positive rating would be nice. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.